What's up, everyone? My name is Edson Cardona, and I want to welcome you guys to the Let's Kick It series. On these episodes, we get the pleasure to be joined by professional athletes, get a little insight on their background and how they made it this far in their athletic careers. A conversation between athletes about their journeys leading them to success. I hope you guys enjoy. What's up, everyone? Hope you all keeping safe with the COVID-19 pandemic, and my hope is that we're all doing our part in standing in solidarity with the racial justice movement and against police brutality because Black Lives Matter. My name is Edson Cardona, and I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Let's Kick It series. For all those who joined before, thank you for coming back. For those who are joining for the first time, welcome. On this episode, I have the honor to introduce Jennifer Muñoz. Born and raised in LA, played with SoCal Blues as a youth, ended up going to the University of New Mexico, and is currently playing for Club America in Mexico. So without further ado, Jen, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I appreciate it. How's quarantine treating you guys over there?
It's good. I mean, just like how it is in the U.S., we're not allowed to, go out to eat and stuff, but it's keeping us focused on soccer, so that's good.
No, I get that, and I appreciate you as well being part of the Let's Kick It series and for taking your time to be with us today.
Oh yeah, thank you.
No problem. So let's get started. I mean, as an athlete or as a soccer player, when did your journey begin?
It started when I was about 5 years old. I obviously got put into an AYSO league, and I mean, I did a lot of sports growing up. I did ballet, I did dance, I did, you name it. But I think I'm glad I stuck with soccer. So.
Yeah, for sure. Did you enjoy soccer being a hobby for you, or when did you know, like, okay, this can be something I can play more and more and not get tired of it? You know, a lot of kids at a young age get tired with certain sports or activities. So how did you know, like, all right, I can have and be a player, for the rest of your life as it is now?
I think it was when I did club soccer. Right as I entered club soccer, obviously it's super competitive in Southern California. And I think when I actually got to SoCal Blues, I actually realized like this is super intense. Like even though we were super young, it was really intense. Like the competition was really high. And I think after that, I was like, oh, I can do this.
And was it hard for you too, being in SoCal Blues, like having that, pressure, from the coach, from your parents, like being at such a high level, and making that so that you can end up going to a university or even in high school before that?
Yeah, I think with SoCal Blues, the pressure is always there. And I think, I got there when I was about, I think 10, and I was there literally through middle school, through high school. And I think growing up, they kind of like mold you into like that pressure, like accepting that and kind of just like knowing that like you're on the SoCal Blues, so like you need to win.
Yeah.
Which is good because our team, grew up to be like one of the best teams that, SoCal Blues ever had. We had a lot of girls go to D1s and everything.
Yeah.
But I think being in that club, even when you're little, like you knew that you're playing to get selected to go to college, so.
Yeah, that's awesome too. Like you got to experience that at a young age, that this sport was going to end up being a competition, year round. And so how was the transition for you now playing at such a young age, being in a competitive, environment and now going and transitioning into colleges? Like how was the recruiting process for you and what were the looks like for you?
I think that thankfully I was blessed to be on, the Blues, and
Yeah.
we got a lot of exposure with tournaments, and there's always colleges watching. So I think we kind of got used to that as we got older. But
Yeah.
going from that to, college, I think it was a kind of easy transition just because we have been playing with some of the best in Southern California for since we were little. So I think it was a blessing for sure.
How were your parents, after the, whole process of getting into college and getting recruited, even you committing to a college, like how was that for you and how happy were or excited were your parents?
They're obviously super excited. I mean, I think I was one of the first to go to a university in my like immediate family, like just like my mom and dad, like they didn't go to university. So I
Yeah.
think it was super cool that I was like the first of our like family to go. So they're obviously really proud of me with that. And I think that just looking back about all the years of missing proms and stuff like that, um, they're obviously like super happy. And I was too, obviously. It made everything so much more like worth it.
Yeah, there's a lot of sacrifices as a player, that you have to go through, like you said, going to certain things in high school, like prom, or just, hanging out with your friends. And soccer takes over your life
Yeah.
time, over the time. So were there any other obstacles for you that you faced, any injuries throughout college or even before then that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Well, thankfully, I didn't have any serious injuries. Knock
Yeah.
on wood. Um, but I think probably one of my biggest obstacles was probably just like being away from home in college. Obviously, New Mexico is not beautiful California, so that was kind of hard. But I think as I like matured through college, I realized like this is where I want to be, and I'm going to grow here and stuff like that. So I think that was my biggest obstacle, but just like keeping in mind that like you're there for a reason and you're there to get an education and become a better soccer player and a better person. So I think that was the mindset.
That's great too, right? Having already, like I said before, experienced what you did at SoCal Blues, it really did help you and like make the player that you are now. And
Mhm.
so throughout your college career, and what did you learn, that helped you pretty much have a good transition after, going into Club America?
I think that our obviously like, University of New Mexico is super. Um, it was kind of school first and then soccer, and I think that even in the soccer program, it was kind of like be a great soccer player, but like be a better person outside the field. And I think that really kind of stuck in my head even now. Um, but yeah, I think, just balancing everything too kind of helped me transition to over here and kind of being away from home too.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a different country now. So it's like another step. So I think that kind of prepared me for where I am now too. So.
And how was that whole process, of you going into Club America, like getting signed? I mean, as a athlete, that's like the dream come true, right? Signing your first professional contract. So if you can tell us a little bit of how that was and the reactions afterwards, because it's a very exciting moment in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I think towards the end of college, I think that I was kind of done with soccer. Not because I wanted to, just because, I had job offers and stuff like that. I wanted to start my career. But then I
Yeah.
was like, well, I think I'm going to be really sad if I stop playing soccer. So I tried out in LA and they wanted me and everything. So then I signed. It all happened really fast. And then actually it didn't really hit me until about like a few months ago, which is super cool. I'm really grateful to be here because it's like one of the biggest clubs in Mexico, and
Yeah.
families, they're Club America fans, so obviously they were super happy. So it was really nice for me to see them super proud of me and like support me and everything.
And the language isn't a barrier for you, right? You speak Spanish as well.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it all, but when I got here, it was kind of hard because I've been
Yeah.
speaking English my whole life, and I just speak Spanish with my grandparents. So yeah, I mean that was kind of hard, but living here, you kind of just grow into the culture. So.
No, for sure, because it can take a toll on some players, going to either Europe or going to some Latin countries.
Oh yeah.
Some don't speak the language, and it's tough. It's tough to really transition yourself in a place where you don't know what they're saying. So like you said, it was hard for you, but you're able to overcome that.
Mhm.
And so after now being at Club America, like going through SoCal Blues, going through University of Mexico, like what keeps you motivated? Like what is that one thing that you can say like, all right, this is why I do it and nothing's gonna like tear me down?
I mean, there's a few things. I think number one is my family. I think they've sacrificed and worked super hard for me to get to where I am and reach my dream. But I think
Yeah.
the other big thing is like myself. I think that I have goals and I always want to get better. And I think that that really motivates me. And I think just like the mental aspect of things, like, just motivating yourself and like definitely playing for the club. I think that being in like this club, it gives you a different feel as a player and it makes you want to play for like the fans and like your coaches and everything. It's very different from, club. I think that
Yeah.
it's a professional environment, so you just want to like make the best out of it.
Yeah. So now being at that highest level, I mean, is this where you reached your peak or what's next for you? I know this quarantine is kind of like holding people back, but do you want to end up still playing there? Do you have dreams of playing in Europe as well?
To be honest, I think that I wouldn't want to play for any other team here in Mexico. I think that I've kind of like made my role here and I feel
Yeah.
super comfortable here. Like they're like family. But, I'm not gonna lie, I do want to play like in front of my family, like in LA. And I know that LA is gonna bring in a team. And I think that's super awesome for LA. I mean, being born there, that's all you ever want as a women's
Yeah.
player. So, hopefully, in the near future, um, I might play over there in front of my family. But I mean, as of right now, I'm super happy here. So
Have you also gotten the chance to play for national teams, or if you
yeah,
can?
so I played for. I got my first call up to the full team for Mexico. I think it was really right before quarantine. We went to Europe, had a couple friendlies there. I played a little bit. I scored. That was
There you
cool.
go.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. And then, yeah, I think that was a really cool experience. I think it was really nerve-wracking, obviously your first call up, but it definitely gave me the confidence to come back and like better myself to get there again.
No, yeah, it gives you a different perspective, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
not only are you playing in a professional level, but now you're playing against the best of different, countries. And
Mhm.
that call up that you got, I mean, how were the nerves? Because I know a lot of players who go into national teams, like you said, it's really nerve wracking. But what was it for you that kept you, like, was it right when you got into the pitch where you're like, okay, like settling down or, warming up, you're like, oh, okay, this is really happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the warm up was like the scariest part because I don't know, it was just warming up and then like you're like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. Like I'm gonna play. Like I thought I wasn't gonna play.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went in, I started the second half, and as soon as the whistle blew, I think like a minute in, I scored. So I think that kind of took the nerves away, thank
Yeah.
God. But yeah, I think if I wouldn't have scored, I probably would have been nervous the whole game. But
Can you tell us a little bit about your goal?
yeah, I think well, they're like dribbling down the sideline, and then it was just like a cross, and I was like, oh, I have to really sprint to get to it. So I sprinted, and then I kind of just hit it with my left foot to like the side, and I scored. It wasn't like super cool or anything, but
No, but
it
it
was
definitely.
definitely.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say it was definitely like a moment to remember. Everything just kind of was like whoa.
No, it's definitely a different feeling when you score for your national team. It's like that moment, surreal moment, like, oh, okay, like this is really the feeling when you score. And who did you guys play against?
I think it was Slovakia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's awesome to be able to go to Europe, play against a different team, play against different players from around the world, and
yeah,
that experience, you can never get. And like you said, that's a moment that you'll never forget. Like in the back of your hands, you can say it to anybody. And so, what other moments for you think were kind of like that surreal moments? Your first goal for America or your debut.
Mhm.
What were the other significant memories that you can talk about?
I think my very first like professional game, I swear everything happens in the first game. Like I don't know what it is, but I think my first game, um, we were away and there was like the maximum number of people like ever watching like a league, like the women's league here.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. Like that was like the most fans in a stadium for like the league ever. And of course that was my first game. So I was like, oh my God, perfect. Like even more nerves. But no, it was super cool. I mean, it was cool to like be in that historic moment with like playing a game where there's like the most fans ever in the stadium for girls here.
Yeah.
So that was
And
cool.
no, for sure. Did you start that game as well?
I did, yeah. So definitely nervous, but I think once we started playing, it was fine.
Did you score that game?
No, I scored the
Not
second.
that game, huh? No, but that's still, like you said, a moment where it's breathtaking, right? You have so many thousands and thousands of fans watching you play, and like, what is that one thing too that you? I mean, a lot of players relate to this. You know, when you're playing, all the nerves go away. But was it like right before the game, or were you still nervous when it started?
I think it was after that first touch. I always
Yeah,
like make sure my first touch is super simple, like even now, every game, because I don't know, I just feel like if you get that first touch, then you're like, I'm good. Like you just take a
yeah.
breath, like okay, let's go. So I think it was after that first touch, I was like, okay, like I played soccer for like 10 years, so I think I got it.
No, yeah. Most players like have that moment, where it's like, okay, everything settles down, like I'm okay, like no more nerves, and you forget about everything, right? And you enjoy the sport. I mean, after seeing all your success and what you've done, I mean, going to college, being the first person in your family, attending a four-year university, playing on national team, getting your first contract, who can you credit your success to?
Um, Definitely my grandpa. I think that growing up, he'd always, throw those little comments like, "You're gonna make it big," stuff like that. And like, obviously, my parents are super supportive, but I mean, I think my grandpa really was like, put it in my mind, like, you can go wherever you want in the world and play soccer. Like, this is your thing. And he's also like a huge America fan, so that kind of worked out.
Oh
So
yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's great though, because having that support system, even when you say you living far away from home, and you have those people you can call, one call away. And sometimes for athletes, like that's kind of the breaking point, either that or like injuries, not having people there who support them. And it's a blessing at the end of the day, having your parents there and being able to support you regardless. And even your grandpa, I mean, he
Mhm.
spoke it into the world, and you're playing for Club America now. So,
Yeah.
um, and so what's next for you guys? Do you guys know what happens? I know quarantine is like, but you guys aren't playing yet, right?
Not yet, but we actually have our first game next Friday, so that's when the league
Okay,
starts. Yeah, so super excited.
that's exciting. Who do you guys play against?
Cruz Azul, so it's like a classico. So,
Yeah, there you go. That's exciting. You guys play at home or away?
we play away, and then I think the second game we played home. So finally.
I know. Finally get the chance to play again. And so how, with this quarantine, how has it been? Like, how were you able to adjust, trainings and all that? Was it hard at the beginning, or was it easy for you? Like, were there only a certain amount of players going into trainings, or how was that all about?
So I think when we first got here, it was individual training, so we were each in our own like side of the field, which is super weird. I mean, but it was definitely really hard. I mean, quarantine fitness is a lot different from like, soccer fitness, so I was dying. But I think by the second week, everyone kind of got the flow of things and like got their breathing back. Because here in Mexico City, the altitude's like insane.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy out
coming from California, like below sea level, I was like kind of breathing a little.
there.
Um, but yeah, I mean, we did small groups, and then now we're obviously like full team training, scrimmaging and stuff. So everything's back to normal now. But it was definitely really weird, and don't want to go through that again.
No, for sure. But it is exciting now after going through that, being
Mhm.
able to, I guess, see the sport a little differently, just doing those one-on-one trainings and then going to 4v4 and now playing 11v11, you kind of see the sport in a different way. And it's exciting now. I mean, going through all that and having your first game next Friday is I mean, the best part, right? It's the
Oh,
it's the dance is what we call it, la fiesta, So
exactly.
that's and so after your whole journey of your professional career, your whole athletic career, what advice would you give to your younger self about the journey you've taken so far?
Oh, that's a good question. I would probably tell my younger self to just like keep focusing on what's in front of you and kind of enjoy the moment. And I think that sometimes when we're younger, it's always like, what am I gonna do in a few years? Or like where am I gonna end up or whatever. But I think like enjoying like the friendships and the places you get to travel and taking a lot of pictures, um, stuff like that. I don't know, just like being a kid and just like enjoying it and not just like stressing out about like, you know, other things, I guess.
No, yeah. At the end of the day, you're doing something you love, right? And it's better, like you said, not to stress so much over it and have fun.
Yeah.
And you're able to have those memories after, going to so many places. I mean, you going to Europe with the national team, you playing in Mexico now. I mean, you being able to go to New Mexico and play. All these memories you have because of soccer, right? And it's a blessing. And that's amazing to see. And I applaud you as well because it's hard to get to the professional level. Not a lot of women or men make it. There's so many athletes who go through the process, and it's not easy at all. But I applaud you, and I'm happy for you, and I can't wait for next Friday. And I hope you get a goal, if not two. So that's exciting. But I thank you for coming into the episode and being with us on the hashtag Let's Kick It series. It was a pleasure having you, and I thank you for taking your time.
No, yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening to my spiel. But yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. I appreciate it, and have a good day.
Thank you.